All right. Izzy Dakota Jones here. The honor doing podcast for 2025. Yes. And I'll be talking to Nathan in a band called The Squares. And he's got a book out too. And he's got a brand new album coming. They're working on The Squares. And yeah, you could check it out. We'll be talking to him real soon. And with special host guest Ash Wednesday. And so hang in there. We'll be right back with Nathan. Ash and I will. Take care. Good evening or good afternoon, whatever you want to call it. We're here on the red couch. This is Izzy Dakota Jones and
Ash Wednesday.
And our guest, Nathan. Nathan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I hear you got a brand new book out. Yeah.
I do. Just as of live online in the last 24 hours, probably. So.
Wow.
Brand new book.
Got
a record coming out.
Yeah, that won't be till November. I don't want to. Yes.
Are you in the process of that right now?
Yeah, working on a record and the ongoing process that it is.
Tell us a little bit about that band, Square.
I play in a band called Square.
Cool.
It's made up of. It started off as the sort of experimental project of a guy named Edward Top, who was moved here to be composer in residence for the VSO. Very cool. He's a concert violinist. He decided he wanted to be in a rock band, so he started.
So he got told of you.
Well, no, yeah. So and then he ended up hooking up with two other music professors, and so three music professors, and somehow I was their colonial experiment. It was like bringing the punk rock monkey in and kicking around, going, "What would you do in this time signature?" So we do like kind of uber experimental. I would say so if you imagine any other field and you took three PhDs and a lunatic who's lived in the world for 30 years and you put them all together and shook it up.
Yeah.
You would look at that as some sort of academic pursuit. There's music on a musical level. There's times it's like cracking the atom. Like we are doing stuff on the outside of what's been done.
Oh, that's good.
So the first time I listened to that stuff, I was like, nope.
No.
I couldn't get it.
No. It's about 30 seconds. I think we're like.
I couldn't catch it, man.
Us play a show, I'm trying to talk to the band about like us learning like some cover kind of stuff. So maybe we'll do like one song,
like
a square,
and
then like do mellow stuff.
You can teach them something in 4/4.
Yeah, well, no, they can play anything. No. That's the thing. That's the thing that people don't understand. It's not a case like, see, everyone says that like you can teach them. No, these guys can play anything.
I dig it.
But we're on the outside. But you know what we can't do? What's very, very strange, and I don't care what anyone ever says, and this is something to understand. That concert, I've stood beside Marshall guitar amps since I was 10 years old, and that violin. That's the loudest thing I've ever been in. Like I'm deaf out of my, and that's not out of the amplifier. Like it's out of the actual wood of the instrument.
Yeah.
Like a concert violinist, just playing that instrument, it hurts my ears more than a Marshall stack.
Wow.
And it's a heavy deal. So those guys can't do it quiet. We can't they don't know how you're like, okay, rock guys can no, it's totally they can't do. Like it's like 160 decibels at all times. Like when they
that's your style, man.
Yeah. Well, more or less in a lot.
No, but it's super fascinating because it's a different kind of volume.
Yeah.
Like it's a different kind of thing. But it's we've been kicked out of rehearsals, but people are like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, it's too fucking loud. Like it's like.
But you're big and loud, yeah.
But
that's okay.
It's what we're doing, not how we're doing it.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Which is neat. Yeah. But
that was a gig last night.
Oh, the gig last night was great. We played the Roxy. We were wonderful.
You played the Roxy last night?
Oh, yeah.
The Roxy's got great sound. And they treat you like gold,
Oh,
right? They treat the bands like gold, yeah.
It's like Back to the Future. It's like a trip back to like a golden age of when rock and roll,
Well, you know what
they lit stages.
Yeah, they got the nice stage and nice lights. The sound man's great. We played there a lot. And I really liked the gig. I really liked the gig.
Cigarettes on Grandma Street.
Yeah.
I felt like the 90s for a while.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
What's your favorite room that you played in Vancouver?
Well, the Town Pump, obviously.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about that last one.
Yeah.
It's that the Town Pump may come back. There's rumor of somebody buying the Town Pump and reviving it.
I remember speaking to some groups. I was running Apex events, and so we were doing a lot of the big events in the city. And I remember speaking to I can't name, but a pretty substantial group.
Yeah.
And they had bought a investment or an investigation lease on the building, so they could go in and get all the assessments done and all that stuff.
Yes.
And to bring it up to code, and it's a problem because it's sinking. So it's like $30 million
For what? The pump?
just to bring the building up to code, because you can't reno the building.
No.
So you can't reno the building, and it's like
But when you go to bring it up to code,
yeah. So this is the issue. Is it's like this venue is sitting there in a sinkhole until it either falls into the sea or somebody comes along and says, okay, I'm going to spend $60 million on a venue that's not going to.
What's under the city? I don't want to talk about it.
but so
We played the media room. That sounded good.
The media club. Well, whatever happened to the media club?
it's still there. It's still there, but it's not the media club anymore. It's still there.
It's still there, right?
Yeah, I think
Is
it's
it
like a
venue?
cafe. It's cafe or something like that now, right? Because the Queenie's across the street, right? So they sort of still kind of use, or is it
We
Queenie's?
played there and both our mums were there, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
It's so fucked. Whoops, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. They're allowed to swear.
That was pretty weird though.
Any kids, like, too bad,
Yeah, that's how you got here.
That
Yeah.
was 20 years ago.
That was 20 years.
Yeah. But you're saying that you heard the rumors that the town pump it has to be fixed for.
Well, that was the thing. So this company, and so they were the same company was running some other venues in the city. It was a big.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get around the bureaucracy to get the building
Done. Which
So-
is typical for.
And that was just pre-COVID, like 2019.
Oh, okay.
So that wasn't long ago.
Wow. So that's not that long ago.
No, because I went into a meeting with like people about like where they were sort of surveying the local industry, where they were talking about like what they what reasonable numbers were in a year, right? But it's crazy if you look at a city the size of Vancouver, or the area the size of Vancouver, like it doesn't support any venues really.
No, it doesn't. It's really tough. But like you said,
But it did.
it did.
Well, then, and the numbers are like, I was out last night, okay, so it's a Wednesday night. I understand it's a Wednesday night.
I know what you're.
But it's June in a major city, and I was on Granville Robson Street at 11:45, and there's nobody there.
Dude, when we were kids, every night.
Every night. Well,
Every
yeah.
night.
Friday night's
You
different
too.
down there.
But okay, but where is everybody? What is everybody doing? Where there's people like, are we living in a zombie apocalypse? Where
Yeah, I
do people
know.
go?
Yeah,
What are
yeah.
they doing?
Well, it's weird. Like the young people, younger people, I don't think club that much anymore, right? They don't. They don't. I mean, like they don't go to
Yeah,
they
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
They go to the Roxy late at night, like they always have, because it's a pickup bar at night, late at night, right? It's a pickup bar. People go there to get picked up, and that's it. But it sort of hasn't changed that vibe, But you're right. You go down, the kids go down there, but they maul around, and I don't think they go into bars anymore half the time.
Yeah, right. Well,
I don't
I
think
talk
so.
to my kids. How many gigs have you seen? They can count them, right? I was talking to Bonnie about this like on the weekend. It's like, oh, why? How many bands have you seen? I was like, thousands. No, it couldn't be. It could be, and it is be like 5 a night. Go out how many times a week for a decade? Like that's thousands
Well,
of
the
gigs.
scene's not happening, right?
No, I
In
know.
Vancouver, it's not.
I think
But
it's
there's a lot of
I don't agree. I think there's like I don't get it, and I don't quite know where the angle is on it. But when I look in, it looks like the kids are doing all right. Like I go down to that
Oh.
Red Gate or whatever. and
Yeah.
there's like,
Oh yeah.
they
How about the Red Gate? What's that like? Have you
Oh, it's
been in-
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Red Gate or Green Door?
No, the
Door,
green
that's-
auto, but
Green Auto.
I don't really. I'm not gonna say nothing.
Okay.
I'm not with the green auto guy. It's
Remember the Green Door?
the green door was
I don't
cool.
know.
In
My
Chinatown?
problem is like I get
Chinatown?
fucked up and kicked
You
out
ever
of
been to a
places.
booze can?
Oh my.
But the red gate I hear is okay, right?
I remember getting into a lot of places. I don't remember getting out of a lot of places.
Yeah.
I
So
remember going out. I just don't.
That's a
remember
shout out
going
to the What Gallery. What Gallery, everybody.
So what's the book about?
Going out and not remembering how you got home. Yeah, essentially.
That's good reading.
I've read a couple of your books. Well, I've read a couple of.
Yeah, I mean, it took a
unpublished
long
things.
time. It's been
You
interesting.
are a bit of a bastard as an author.
You're right. All of it, all of it,
and I get to the end, and I'm like, oh, here it comes, Oh, that wasn't the story at all.
Yeah, so
the
that's
entire thing was wrong.
Now by 10, yeah. So this is the beginning and the end of a section of stories called Things of Steel and Wood. And
I was going to say, this is
the beginning and the end. And so it's kind of hard to explain in that sense that, like, it makes sense kind of that. So it's a story series that kind of exists on 3 levels. And so, like, this novel series starts in the 90s in, and then a kid that doesn't look too much unlike me comes from Coombs and, like, Vancouver Island. And,
Coombs.
Yeah.
Where the goats are on the roof.
The goats are on the roof, and that's all part of the story. I mean, essentially, it's a deconstruction kind of, I think, of West Coast identity. I don't think
cool.
Being a kid, like, I grew up in rural Vancouver Island, well below the poverty line, and my narrative as a Canadian is not included in the national fabric, right?
Right.
Like the native kids or the Indian kids, as I'll call it, like I looked up to them. They were better off than me. Like they're my friends and my family. So there's a narrative in the Canadian sort of social fabric that we got to kind of look at. And so
I felt like that was a wild thing too. Like when you and I first met each other in those days, right?
Yeah.
Like that was wild to me, man, because that was everybody came here to this little speck of nothing just on the Pacific Ocean, right? That has just been left alone. And like, oh, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're going bananas. And everybody was doing it. Everybody had gone just off the rails, man.
Very edge of the earth, yeah.
Dude, to the point where, this is completely normal. This is completely normal. Just this whacked out stuff. Like now, as an adult, I'm trying to sit around with people, like trying to have at a dinner party, and try to go, hey man, do you remember? No, it was not like that for me at all. It was way outside, and that I think it's that kind of stuff that gets lost with all the with the world shrinking and everybody being able to, like all of you guys, wherever you are, wherever you live, getting to sit here in East Van in our barber shop. This would never have happened.
But like a step removed from that, right? Is that, like, we've made the world really small. Like, here we are, we've made the world really small, and that access. I was out with 2 sort of higher end studio guys earlier today, and we're talking about, like, art used to be like you had to achieve a certain level of meritocracy in the arts in order to gain access to the tools to make art, or to broadcast art, or to record art, like posterity.
Yeah, that's right.
So, like,
if
you look at
somebody puts out play,
somebody, right? Well, and technology. I mean, we put all the tools of the universe in our hand. At the same time, we invented we brought forward a society that has absolutely no sense of merit. It's all participation awards. Like, we took away all the gold stars. Like, everybody's equal. Everybody did, everybody, nobody won the race. Like,
Right.
So it's so the book's not about that. No. No, but the book's about it's but yeah, all in all, overall, it's kind of like if I guess if I was gonna write a comic book when I was a kid, I wanted something to take place where I grew up, and so
that's very cool.
what it is.
Yeah, because I've been, like, in the 80s and 90s, I spent some time over touring the island a lot, playing all the bars. So when you mentioned Coombs, like, we'd always stop off in Coombs in between going to Campbell River or something like that, or Port Hardy. And, there's the goats on the roof. Let's go in here, right, and hang out, right? And the place was packed. Back for tourists, especially in the spring and the summer, right?
Well, it was such a neat community. I mean, that's kind of the thing too, right? It's like, it
remember
was a real, like, my dad was a draft dodger, and the whole community out there where I grew up in Arrington was like, that was the guy Rick Koontz from the Grassroots, the folk band.
Yes.
He bought that whole acreage, and so everybody out there, everybody I grew up with, and I grew up with kids that were completely off grid because their parents had run away from Vietnam War.
Right.
Like the vast majority, like it wasn't the rest of Canada, right? And that's the thing. Like, if you ended up And then you gotta when you get into the deep
Don't
rivers.
go into that voice.
What? I mean, if you ended up on Vancouver Island before like 1950, you messed up somewhere else. Nobody said, "Oh, I want to go."
That's like we were driving out to Hope and we were going through Deroche or whatever. We're like, oh, it's nice, man. Could you imagine living out here? And I was like, no. The people who live out here for a reason, man. Oh, yeah.
They're hiding.
Dude.
Just imagine yourself. Like sometimes, like when you just like look at the forest and think to yourself, you showed up here with like an axe and a saw. And you're like, like a farmer.
Yeah, here we go.
What am I gonna do? Like,
at the same time, though, dude, there's something about that's so centered. You know what? I mean, I think all three of us.
Yeah.
You get out into the forest, man. That is just so
pristine. It's very pristine. Yeah.
Oh.
You remember? And you do.
I live in the woods.
Yeah, you remember that bar?
You do.
Yeah, I remember that bar on the island too. Where is it? I'm thinking of Duncan, the Galaxy.
Drunken Duncan.
Duncan, the Galaxy. The Galaxy. It was a spaceship. It was a bar made up as a spaceship. It had a wall. It did. It had a wall. All the walls were filled with bands that played there. I mean, like people you would never ever. You probably knew about half of them, and then everybody else you never knew.
I think that's one of the bars. I think that's actually one of the bars in Canada. It's like half on reserve and half off reserve. I think that's one of the ones. It's like literally like the bar itself is like.
That's funny.
So that they can get around.
But it was like a spaceship. I played there twice. It was it was the weirdest place in the world. Yeah, the Galaxy. I remember that. What a weird place. It felt like you were in outer space. So what else are you doing? You got the book coming out. You're just starting to get the book to that point.
Yeah, like I'm doing it myself, and and it's been super satisfying. It's a real great it's been a great sort of project for me. I guess the book was kind of a project too of like, I sort of took the music industry stuff and then I worked, I worked in the downtown east side for a long time. So this was kind of a process of that, like kind of, trying to understand, like, I guess I'm trying to put a fictional metaphor for, the darkness that comes out of these.
I was going to say,
yeah.
There's a lot of pain in there, man.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of pain in your writing. As well.
Yeah, and I think there's an effort for me to put that.
Cute.
Yeah. Well, and that's that's one of the things I talk about. Like at the same time, I'm a songwriter, and I'm fascinated by words, and so like in a lot of ways, this is a puzzle box. It's like it's all an analogy for the word structures that we use to construct things, right? Because we're the stories that we tell, right? So I kind of like talk in the beginning of the thing. It's like the oral histories that we tell that the idea that we, all history is told by the conqueror.
Right.
But it's also told by the upper class.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I joke about this being like sort of a Marxist take on the sort of Faustius yard.
Oh, that's interesting, dude.
Yeah.
That exact thing that you just said, and means it too, where you don't have to go to Brian Adams' or studio or fucking, right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Whoop. We can do it ourselves. Well, that's kind of our move, though.
Yeah.
Do it yourself.
Yeah.
Well, what did we do? What have we always done? Who's going to do that? Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Well, but once again, it all depends on the outcomes, right? And so it's like because then at the same time, it's like this. Okay, I'm going to do this, but it's like you got to do it better than this guy. Like guys don't go play ball hockey and think they're going to go to the NHL, but as soon as you write a book, it's like, well, you got to be fucking Stephen King.
Yeah.
It's like so nobody does it.
Yeah.
So nobody does it because
That's
there's this crushing. It's like this crushing, criticism on anyone that does any other arts because. And that's how our society looks at it.
They grade it like that.
That's why I love our band, this Empty Illusion. No gigs, not going to release anything. Maybe we're going to stop making songs. It's a band, and
well,
because if it's art and commerce, well, there's no commerce. Just take commerce out, and then what is it? I don't know. We hung out.
That's funny.
I love that, man. To me, that's
like what's his name? Producer. He used to be in Art Bergman. Ray Fulberg, and he's a producer engineer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Ray said once to, I won't name the musician, but there was a musician in town, famous guitar player in town, and he was saying, the guy was saying, I played with this band, I played with this guy, played with this guy, really famous people, and he goes, I just can't seem to get a break, right? And Ray just looked at him and said, this is your career.
This is the break.
This is the career. This is your career. You're living it now. It isn't anything else but what it is.
That's fun.
And I went like, and the guitar player told me this, and he says, "This is what Ray told me, right?" And I went, that's so true, right? Like and right away, he acknowledged that once he heard that, it sunk in right away to him, right? Yeah. And he just went, "Oh, okay, I get it."
I heard a similar quote when Tommy Lee said, "I didn't know we were paying for the Learjet."
Hey Nathan, you ever hang out with Marilyn Manson at Love Affair? No?
No.
Did anybody have any Zippo fluid? No?
No. What do you tell? But yeah, it's a interesting time. Interesting time in the world because you can name any song, movie, video, book, anything you want, and we can find it right now.
Oh, pull it up on your phone right now.
Right.
Yes,
now.
yeah, right now.
You know what you can't pull up? Last week, I ran into our homeboy, Joe Party.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else know about Notch except for the, you know what I mean? And I was like, he just seen Billy Hopeless at the Bovine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's still real. That's still real stuff. I mean, actually, it's probably all on the internet. Somebody probably recorded the Black Halos at the Bovine. And anyway, I don't know.
I don't know. It depends
and I
on
don't
where
think
it
it was
is.
pure at the time either. I don't think any of that. I don't think we even thought about it. I think
But
I
I
just
think-
thought
but
about go.
Yeah. But definitely especially for I think our generation because we're at the very end of it.
Yes.
So it's
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well,
Yeah. Joe's got a couple years on us, so he was able to. There was still, you could still, I guess.
What's that? What do you mean?
You could still be like a rock star. Like you could be Led Zeppelin.
I was
Nirvana were our Led Zeppelin.
I was kind of like what Nathan said. I was kind of on the edge of a lot of stuff too, Rick. I mean, it's kind of funny because it's.
And
there's different eras, like
Yeah.
when we had Brian Holden the other day here. Like Brian was more of the early '70s when Vancouver was really cool.
Yeah.
Trust me, it was very cool in the '70s because you had Brian Holden.
Yeah.
You had Collectors, which was Chilliwack eventually. Bill Henderson, and you had all these really cool artists. That. Jim Foster Child, all these psychedelic acts, Seeds of Time, and all these bands.
DOA,
and
Point
eventually they came up.
In the
Yeah,
70s,
they sort of took over
at
the
the
next
end of the
round.
70s,
And they started taking over. But Vancouver was very creative at that time. Really creative.
But you also got to think that there's something that people kind of misunderstand too, though, right?
Yeah.
It's about population density.
Yeah.
Because
good point.
So if you talk about that, and you talk about the West End, right? Okay, so there's people living there, but look at the people that were living there, and it's look back in the 60s and 70s, it was all young people.
Yeah.
Right? And it's these kind of what we were talking about Granville Street, people not going out.
Yeah.
That culture was everyone went out every night. That's what you did. You ate out every night. You ate that's what everybody did. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody went.
There's
out.
1,000 places to go to too.
And for Ash and I, and I on the back of the book I say I come from Gastown. I moved to Gastown. I was 17 years old. Right. Summer of 1992. And I come from.
That's when we lived.
Yeah, that's when I met Ash that summer.
Yeah.
But when I think about Vancouver back in the 90s, it's everybody went out. You went out every night.
That's what I was saying
You
about.
did that in the 70s too.
Yeah.
And that was
for sure.
up until that. That's what I'm saying. It's not just us as punk kids going out, but that's what everyone did every night.
Do you think COVID asked that?
No,
I think that's
generational. It's generational,
iPhones
and
and
he says
Netflix,
density.
Netflix and fucking iPhones.
Social media.
Social media. Sorry,
Yeah.
but it's true. And see, when I was a little kid in this neighborhood, before I was a teenager, Hey, yeah. Watched Ed Sullivan fell in love with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, like the bands that started in the 60s.
Rolling Stones next Friday.
Yeah. So, anyways, when I saw that, like the hall over here was called Clinton Hall. So when I was a kid,
Was there gigs in there?
there are bands, bands playing all the time. Like Seeds of Time would do a show there. So as a little kid, me and all my buddies, we'd go down, sit on the fire escape.
Yeah,
And the girls and the boys were in there partying. Yeah, they were drinking. Yeah, they're underage. But they created their own scene,
Yeah,
right?
so did we, yeah.
So like,
You guys did. They created.
Yeah, we did too, yeah.
Yeah, that's not happening anymore.
Well, we were like the real tail end of that because it was like we were even still like when we were doing like A the booze cans and the community hall.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So it was like you go get the permits for
Yes.
it. And we go get like
Remember the Viking Hall?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember the gigs at the Viking Hall too.
So I would
DOA,
get the special
sticks, all that stuff. Yeah.
And you go get those special event permits, you can see how many that were pulled in those.
Oh, when you look into the archives.
Yeah.
And so, but nobody does that anymore. But I don't even know if they know they can.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they knew they could, if they would go do it, because there's nothing stopping the kids from right now from going and getting a permit and having a party and some.
I know some younger kids, but
we
they're doing a
used to
very
do it.
different thing.
But we used to do it. Your brother did it.
Oh,
Like
for
we
sure.
all did it. This is what we did. Like this is what I'm saying. Like we
Creating
all
your own
put
scene.
on shows within our scenes. Like it's like I kind of was on the edge of like kind of because I moved into 52 Powell and Gas, and I kind of ended up.
And you were ridiculously talented and would go on tour and like you went a level above too.
But there was more money. No, but
you were in it. For sure.
But getting the party licenses and stuff and all that stuff. I was gonna say I was more kind of on the rave scene side, right? 'Cause there was more girls there. So and then
More girls. That doesn't sound
That's why
too
we're all
cool.
into rock and roll music, isn't it? Straight for the money.
Look, man, you ever see those metal shows? Like when you see the metal posters, it's they got the logos with all the things. All I ever saw is no girls here.
Yeah. Well, I went to Rush.
Great band.
Rush is
No,
like-
they're great. But me and
It's
my
like
buddy
old
the
school.
Gooch, rest in peace, we're like, oh, let's play a game. Spot the girl.
It's all guys.
Yeah, we couldn't spot one. No.
Yeah.
They were great though.
All musicians probably.
Oh,
too.
dude, they played the trees. With the Strangiato.
Well, no, it's like so my
Where were
square-
the girls?
So my square band, we're like a
Rush
Rush
band.
band. Like the people that were like Rush, they would come see Square. Like that. Like,
You said that
Sure.
Gearheads
Oh yeah, Gearhead.
bug out on you guys.
Oh yeah. It's all last night too. It was like, and like because we're kind of like I started playing these they're all classical. It's all choppy sort of stuff, and this next stuff, even like the stuff I'm doing with the book, it's all kind of tied into the guitar geek world, right? So it's kind of like if you're gonna.
I was gonna say like you're talking about these guys like, but you're no slouch, man.
I don't know.
GIT and all that stuff, right? That's
There's like I'm a funny bounce stone, right? I hit like the end of like the sort of shred heavy metal thing, and then bounce through like the end of hardcore and thrash and punk rock, and because I had older brothers, and then kind of glistened with grunge, right?
okay. All right, let's have a start to finish all the bands you've been in.
Ooh, tons. Well, no, not that many really. No. Well, I moved to Vancouver. I was in a band called the Common Buddhas, and we put out a record on the Lookout that was called "If I Love Jesus, Does That Make Me Gay?" and this was like,
And it does.
this was
I
like
think it does,
1989, and at the time I remember, here's how the world changes. Too, right? We put that on posters in Qualico, and people were like,
Oh God,
You
yeah.
know,
They'd be freaked right
"Oh
out.
yeah, people got fucking real mad, right?" We thought everything.
Bunch of Satans and
Oh
stuff.
yeah. Yeah, you remember what
Oh,
happened?
dude.
What happened to those Christians that were complaining back then? Like now we got like sometimes
My band was called Adolf
What are you
Christ.
talking about? No, it doesn't matter anymore.
No, but that's what
Donald Trump is probably Satan, for all we know. He's fine. We like him,
Oh, well.
I think morality has definitely changed.
Oh yeah.
Everything's gotten so tight, so tight.
Boy.
All the stuff like you can't joke around, mess around. I mean, you can.
You can.
But you know what I mean.
You can, but there's
If you got nothing to cancel, there's nothing cancelable, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, everything is very, very woke, right?
Well, and that's
that's a funny
Do you
thing
talk
too.
about that in the book?
Well, I talk about it in the book in the sense that, I use language. I try, like, one of the big things for me that's really important about the book is, and I say in the beginning, is that I'm trying to reproduce the language that I hear in my head when I think of that time period.
Oh, okay.
Because
good.
I think it's very important. So when I say things, it's like, like when I say fucking Indians
And we were the
words,
most,
like,
we were the
words that
most
were
left-wing
used.
people
Yeah.
in the world
And
at the time.
that's when I say,
Yeah.
like,
I know
it's
what you're
like,
trying to say.
like, I don't see a lot, like that's what I say, like with my brother. I mean, they're family to me. The Native First Nations people, but when we were kids, they were Indians. And it's
Yes.
very important, but it's very important.
Oh,
But-
yeah,
but-
yeah.
But it's very important for us not to sugarcoat that and lose that as an understanding of how we have improved on recognizing who we were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
know what you're trying to
I'm
say.
not saying in the book, like, I'm not trying to say, hey, this is okay. I'm just saying this is what it
Well,
was.
what you're right. I've talked about that myself. Like when my parents grew up, right? My parents were around. Hey, man, I mean, my parents. You wouldn't believe that they today that would be like super. They'd be like racist, like racist. But they weren't being racist, right? That's like my parents. My parents owned a bar, right? So when I was a kid, a couple bars. So when my parents owned the bars and I was a kid, my friends would come over. And this is when I'm a teenager, about 13 or 14. Come over, and my mom comes home and says, fuck, today was like fucking this. But my friends are going like, holy shit, do you hear your mom? Your dad? Shit, Joe, get this done. And I'm going like, and they're going like, your mom and dad talk. I says, well, they work in a bar.
Yeah.
They're around it all day. I says, when they're
What
saying
was
this, it's one place. It's called the West Coast Club. 1932, my grandpa opened it up. Wow. It's the first club.
That's so good,
It
man.
was first nightclub in Vancouver.
I know exactly.
First license plate. So when they did that, like I was.
So you're hitting it right on the head, though. Right?
Yeah.
Because what we're talking about is we're talking about language systems and communications of the lower classes.
Yes.
That haven't been codified because they didn't have writers.
Yeah.
And they didn't have people speaking. And then it's been deemed so now we're saying, the way those people talked is not okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
those people are us people.
Well, those people are me.
Yeah.
And
And
you came to my
I
fucking
know.
country.
Yeah,
And so we're not just gonna forget like we have a memory. Now, Canada's complicated because of the horrible colonial, the idea that
I know what you're saying.
and Western Canada was a construct of Eastern Canada.
Yeah.
And it's so I grew up in Western Canada getting news and a view of the world sent from Eastern Canada.
Oh, it's probably just completely Toronto, right?
Well, it didn't have so I didn't as a kid growing up. I didn't know when I turned on the television. I was like, who are those? What's going on? The beachcombers. We were like, who are these fucking people?
beachcombers.
Right? People are like, the beachcombers. I'm fucking from here. There's no fucking beachcombers. I don't know what the fuck people are talking.
What was that guy's name? Gino Jerusi?
Jerusi.
Rest in peace, Relic, though.
Relic.
What a sweet, what a sweet man. Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
But I'm saying to you, you're from Ontario. Where I'm not sure what you're. Okay,
He's from around the corner.
Okay, but there was no beachcombers, right? It's not a real thing.
No.
So there's this show on national television.
To be fair,
that
Niagara Falls wasn't real either.
Well, this is the idea, and so now we come back, and then people are like, okay, white Canada, you guys are assholes, and we're like, whoa, they built us in a box, man. We're not real people. We were here, they gave us a song, they gave us some shows on TV, it's
Little hobo.
yeah, it's like. Whoa, back up.
Remember that dog show with Little Hobo?
Littlest Hobo, man.
Littlest Hobo.
That put food on the Hogan's table. The Hogan family, that little dog put food on the table.
My God.
That's what Michael told me.
Thank you to that.
Don't you talk about that. Don't you talk shit about that little dog.
Don't talk bad about that dog.
So
That
good.
dog. I was watching Talladega Nights the other night.
So funny.
But some movies like go from being like kind of funny to being kind of like, well, that's too close to home, to being like, oh man, how did we like that? How did we let that become real? And that's one of those ones where you watch and you're just like, oh wow, I remember watching this and it's not being as funny as it is now because this is what
I tell you, yeah.
Well, as we're filming this, the debate's on right now. Well, I don't want to talk about politics, but that's going to be
Oh,
pretty
you
funny.
know,
No, we can't for sure.
No.
But we don't want to do it.
Two old men going at it, right? Like this.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, like, no offense.
You
Like,
got 3 old men here. Take us.
yeah, but we're not as old or anything as that.
I'm not even close.
No.
Nor have we grown up.
I just like, I really didn't believe, even in 2016 when Trump got in, that democracy would just take such a nosedive. Like, even the concept, even like I didn't buy into it anyways. Like, I didn't vote. I didn't believe it. wasn't my thing. Like, I don't. This is not my world. It's not my, not my circus, not my monkeys. But it boggles my mind how we went from like, just how we got here.
Yeah, it's fucking
And
scary.
it's different. It's so different, isn't it, too?
It's just like, just think when we were kids, like newscasters were kind of like statesmen.
At 6 o'clock, man.
But we respected,
Watch
there was a
the-
standard of like, okay, these are these people now, right? And
We're in Niagara Falls. You see Irv Weinstein. You know what I mean? 6 o'clock, Irv would tell you what's going on. Buffalo's on fire, basically, every night. Lackawanna's on fire. Tonawanda's on fire. Everything's on fire.
Yeah.
Good luck looking for a job.
It's
Was a
changed.
sign.
well,
Good luck looking for a job.
Well, yeah, and it's not to say there wasn't bad times. And and that's the weird thing is that statistically we're in better times than there's ever
Way
been.
better.
Better,
Yeah.
And so you got to wonder about some
Well,
of that
that's
stuff.
exactly what I think too, man. Is like a child's gone missing, an Amber Alert, and the whole world's freaking out in Tennessee. I mean, Andrew Dunny, or what's that? Dunny? Michael Dunny. He went missing.
But that happens a lot, right?
That's probably-
There's all that kind of
No,
stuff.
it happens a lot, but it happens a lot all over the place. Is what I mean, America.
Oh, yeah. And it's-
Right, and so
Every
so
second.
we wouldn't have heard about it.
I mean, look, have you ever watched that, just off topic, you watch that TV station in LA, KLT, in Los Angeles? So
KTLA.
every third day, if you watch it, there's a helicopter chase. They're chasing cars on the highway like
That's why I watch it.
That's why you watch it. every third day they're following some crime guy, and they actually like leave it on, and you can watch this going on in LA, and I'm going like, this, who does this? Like, like how does this happen? Like in Vancouver they wouldn't do that.
No.
They wouldn't put the camera on TV. Here we go. This is their entertainment. They're
Put it on
farming.
Ken Sim.
Unreal.
Who's your favorite pro wrestler?
Ever?
Yeah,
It's a tough question. That's deep. Probably George and Steve.
he's pretty cool. Yeah.
Anyways,
I don't know. Ricky the Guy and Steve.
He's pretty cool.
not very beautiful. Honky tonk, man.
Is that your favorite?
No.
The Road Warriors.
Jesse the Body Ventura is the correct answer.
There you go.
Jesse the Body Ventura is the best wrestler ever.
Yeah.
I know. I think Gene Kaniski.
Oh yeah,
Are you
sweet.
going old?
I met Gene Kaniski once. I was playing at the Reef. He owned that Reef bar in where is it? Point Roberts. And he did this. He walked up. He says, "Hey boys, you playing here tonight?" I go, "Yeah." "Hi Gene, how are you?" I go, "Fine." "You want a beer?" "Yeah." "Okay." My bass player looked at me and went like, takes the beer, goes,
Just covered in Kaniski snot.
yeah. He just went like, "What do I do with this?" I says, "You pour it." Hope for the best. I said, at the end of the day. So, so when's this coming out?
Well, I'm putting it out online. Like I said, I'm getting around to it. But
Yeah.
But I'm gonna put it out. Hopefully, so the band's square, so we're finishing our second. Well, we'll finish our. It'll end up being our first real release.
Right.
So we're hoping that to come up for November. So by November, I'm hoping to have that kind of more kind of physically out. Like I'll have it
Okay.
digitally.
So you
out.
can have one thing followed up with the other.
Yeah, you know, it's like that whole sort of like art and commerce.
Would you like to win this copy? You cannot have it because it's mine. And I've been waiting a long time for this.
But I have
This
been
is
having it. I'm gonna have it soon. But yeah, but you know, like the whole process, like for me, like book, you know, it was like the design and all of it, right? So I had to print them up to kind of see them and to kind of live with it for a little bit. So now I'm kind of like.
I got a lot of emails, text messages. Look at this.
Well, yeah, and then exactly the same.
And then just, look at this. Yeah, you like that? What about that?
Exactly.
I'm stoked though, man. Your writing blows my mind. I love
Are
it.
you guys playing anywhere soon besides the Rock?
Yeah, we play next Saturday at the penthouse, whatever the
Oh, the penthouse, yeah.
The last Tyrant Studios or something.
Time Studios, yeah.
Yeah, we're playing with like I don't know some guys. I don't know. I had a head injury, so I don't have too much names I can't stay with. But yeah, so but the band squaremusic.ca, we got listed. We're there, and then we have another gig coming up. But yeah, like the classical guys have got a lot of stuff going on, so we kind of do that.
That'll be cool. That's at the Tyrant Studios. I've heard
Yeah,
it.
you been there?
I've not been in there, but I've been hearing good things about it.
Yeah. It looks like a little. It looks pretty small, but it looks pretty. Cool.
It's a tiny little venue upstairs, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, I've played in the actual penthouse where the stripper bar is. I played in there. They used to do shows in there on Sundays, I think, because I used to know the owner, and the owners used to say, "Okay, Capone's." They said, "Okay, you guys come in on a Sunday. We'll do a show on a Sunday." So they would have like 4 or 5 bands play, right? Yeah, it was pretty good. It was fun. They had a good system. It sounded really good in there. But yeah, now they got the upstairs going. Trying studios. I have to check that out myself. So when is that next?
Saturday, the 6th.
It's the 6th. In the evening, what time are you guys on?
Like 10ish or something.
10ish? Yeah.
Bar times or.
Yeah, no
We
more
should
bar.
go, Bonnie,
Yeah.
if you want to.
Yeah.
Who's going?
You haven't met her. You met her.
You met her.
Numerous times.
Hi, Bonnie.
Why asking who my girlfriend is? Who Bonnie is? Okay, well. Thanks for watching The Red Couch. Thanks for hanging out at our barbershop.
And we'll see you again soon. Nathan, take care.
Cheers.
And
Cheers.
thanks for doing that.
Yeah, Izzy Dakota Jones here. That was Ash and I talking to Nathan. I hope you enjoyed that interview, and we'll be talking to you real soon. Peace out. And Dakota Jones with the Art of Doing Podcast 20.